Alright, so you're looking for a drill press, you probably don't want to spend a lot of money, and you come across the Ryobi 10-inch at the Home Depot. Well, it's a good thing you stopped by this video because today we are going to use and abuse, we're going to check out the specs, we're going to put some metal up in front of this thing and then some wood. We're going to see how it does, we're going to talk about all the things that I do like and maybe a couple of the things that I don't. Now the Ryobi Drill Press, you're looking at about 30 inches high, you're looking at about 62 pounds for this thing. 3 amp, you got 5 different speeds. The minimum RPM on this, you're looking at 570. The max, you're looking at 3050. Other than the bits, everything you need to get going with this drill press comes right in the box. Now speaking of the box, what do you have to do when this thing arrives at your house? Well, you're going to have to open that box and you're going to have to do some assembling. Again, other than the bits, you will get everything you need. Now the assembly part is not really hard at all. The directions are there, they're not that great, but if you have any type of mechanical ability, it'll take you about 15 minutes to get this all together. I would, however, suggest some Loctite on those handles right there. And just throwing this out there, not a big deal to me, but the top casing, the green plastic casing, it came really dirty with oily fingerprints all over it. And yeah, it's gonna get dirty, but that was kind of annoying to me. So up here is how you will change your speeds. If you want to go slower, well, let me show you the RPMs. You bring that all the way down on the base of those pulleys. One is plastic, one is metal. I adjusted mine up to the 2075 RPM because I'll be doing more woodworking than metalworking. If you're doing metalworking, I would suggest bringing that down to a slower speed. It's pretty simple to do, but there is some finesse that will be involved. Now on the front up here, you got your on-off button, you got your light and your laser. I'm going to let you hear this thing in a bit, but it's very, very quiet. You do have an LED light underneath. It's okay. It's not great. It will give you some illumination, but I wouldn't take your shop lights back just yet. And here's just a different view for you. Now, right next to that switch is your laser line. And again, not blown away by this. It does do a pretty good job. If you've never used a drill press before, well, it might come in handy, but I'll probably never use this. The one thing that does drive me nuts about the Ryobi's laser light is that the drill bit actually gets in the way of it. So it's more of an annoyance than anything. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You got the laser level on the left and the right hand side of the unit. And then the laser comes down, strikes the back of this bit, and then just basically cuts everything off in the front. And even though you can see this where it's crossing, when you start bringing that drill bit down, you end up with a point, but there's no X. But again, unless you're an absolute novice, I probably really wouldn't worry about this laser. It's just there, and I'm not going to be using it anyway. One of the things that really does work well, however, is the depth adjustment or the stop. You can adjust your depth right here by simply turning up or down on these nuts, and well, it's good to go. Once you bring it down, it stops. And voila. So well done on that, Ryobi. Now as for the adjustment lever right here, when you're bringing that drill bit down, well, it's pretty smooth. Again, I would definitely throw some Loctite in there to make sure that this doesn't come undone on you, which it probably will. But that being said, got that nice spring action, goes back to where it needs to go, and haven't had any issues with that. As for the table and the base plate, these things are built really, really well. The only real plastic type of issue we have is right here on the back. One of the covers, it was busted, and the top of this thing, and that's really it. Everything else is pretty much metal and built really, really well. So much so that I was actually sort of surprised with how well it was built. As far as it goes with the stand, the bench, the casing, the drill chuck, especially, it is phenomenal, very smooth, no wobble at all with that thing. The build quality is just real nice like. Real nice like. So now we're going to drill through some wood and metal. I am outside because the lighting on the inside of my garage just isn't all that great. So you're going to hear some creaking and cracking. That is not from the drill, that is from the plywood that this is on. After I'm done outside, I'll bring it in the garage on a more sturdy surface for you to hear it again. So first I want to test the stops and see how those work. Fantastico! Alright, so those work really good. So let's adjust our table now to go all the way down through. You can see our stops are here, but there's only so much you can do with those stops. So come on the back here and you can loosen this right here and adjust your table up or down. Very simple to do and really allows you to adjust that depth to wherever you need it to be. You can also swivel that table left and right if you want, and super simple to do. They also give you a nice size crank on the right hand side. It's pretty quick. So you go up, you go down. Once you find that depth, well, just lock it down again. And definitely make sure that you do lock it down because you don't want your stuff going everywhere while you're trying to work. Alright, so what about the metal? Well, this is about an 1/8 inch thick and I have not had any issues going through metal at all. I got a little bit of WD-40. This is a 1/2 inch bit. Now, two things here. Again, that noise, well, yeah, some of it's the metal, but it's mostly that table that I have this sitting on, the plywood that I mentioned earlier. The other thing is, you want to adjust that pulley system for metal. I'm going to be using this more for wood, so it was a little bit too quick. Now, let me show you one other issue that I have, and then we're going to do a little bit more drilling. I'm going to bring it on in the inside and put it on a more sturdy table, but you can adjust this table here 45 degrees left or right, which is great, except for how they designed the loosening bolt. You can see there's another smaller bolt right underneath this, which makes it really hard to get a wrench in to loosen and tighten the bolt. You could use a socket, but if you're using a wrench, well, just not a very good design. Let's do a few more holes here and I will give you the complete overview of this press. You can definitely tell how much better that sounds on a solid work surface compared to a piece of thin plywood. Now, I think if you're a woodworker, especially a novice woodworker, you're going to absolutely love this drill press. It does a great job on all different kinds of wood. We tried it on maple, we tried it on cherry, I've tried it on the pine. It just does a really good job. Now, as for the metal, it's a different story. I think if you're doing a lot of metal work, you might want to go with something a little bit more heavy duty, but if you bring this speed down a little bit, I know it'll do the job for you. I think it does do an excellent job on the thinner stuff. This is also about 1/8 of an inch, and let's see what this does. Really good. And for the price range of this, you know, right now during the time of this video being shot, you're only looking at $169. I'll put a link in the description below for you, but $169 for this drill press. All right, let's give this thing the final review. What do I think about this? Well, the laser, I'm not going to use it. It's not that big of a deal to me, but it's not my favorite. I had a busted plastic cover that I thought maybe happened during the shipping, but this thing was really packaged well with a lot of styrofoam, so who knows? The metal that is used on this drill press is really thick, really heavy duty, even more so than I thought it would be. I thought I would see a lot more plastic on this thing, and I just didn't. As far as it goes with how quiet it is, it's super quiet. And as far as use goes, it's really smooth. You're going to have to put some Loctite up there on the handles, but other than that, I really don't see any other issue. For the power, I definitely think it has enough to do just about anything you need it to do. I was able to go through many different types of wood and metal with no issue. You definitely want to adjust this drill press speed depending on the size bits you're using and the material you're trying to drill through by that pulley system. The pulley system isn't hard to adjust, but it's definitely not the easiest either. Love the depth stop on this machine. I thought it was super easy to put together. I really do believe that, especially a novice person or somebody that does DIY or is trying to start out, I really think you're going to love this drill press. I am really happy with it. There's a couple quirks, but there are things that don't really matter to me. So I'm giving it a thumbs up. Definitely check it out. If you like this video, please smash that like button, get subscribed, hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on any other tool reviews coming up very soon. I appreciate you stopping by, and with that, we'll be back with more videos soon.